And the Swazis hope that what they see in their mirrors will also please their girlfriends. Ever since prehistoric man went forth to drag home a mate by her crowning glory, hair has played a role in the game of love. For hair was our first adornment, and male and female have usually made the most of it in attracting the opposite sex. The Swazis find that ribbons and this color of hair are romantically stimulating. The color comes from rubbing with sand and herbs, a beauty trick which guarantees popularity. Now, the bathing over, the girls go to work on their coiffures. They put on the finishing touches. So do the boys, and each gets ready to chase or to be chased in the courtship derby. Like styles of hair, styles of art run the gamut. And in the highly artistic Ndebele tribe of South Africa, a woman delights her man not only by painting his house instead of her face, but by shaving her head. For to win a man here, girls, you must lose your hair. In some tribes, before marriage, a bride must be so thoroughly shaved that not a single hair remains anywhere on her body. Perhaps one proof of a girl's bald-headed appeal is that an Ndebele man usually winds up with a king-sized family. But lack of hair is no excuse for lack of heirs. And if a wife remains barren, her husband has the right to demand her sister as substitute. But there are few substitutes for adornment when it comes to catching a man's eye. And these beads and metal neck rings are also surefire man-bait in Ndebele land, where a girl in the heat of fashion must sometimes cool herself off with water. These metal rings are not only hot, they're extremely heavy. And when a woman walks, she must do so with a slow, shuffling gait. But she doesn't mind, for the men find this very seductive. But if things get too warm for a girl, her best relief is the old swimming hole. Far from Africa, in the South Pacific, in the Solomon Islands, the Trobriands, and in New Guinea, the traps and snares set by girls for the capture of their mates gives evidence there is almost nothing a woman will not do for the sake of love. If any place in the world has earned the name Land of Romance, it is Bali. Yet here, in the midst of peaceful beauty, is sometimes found violence in the capture of a bride by force. The Balinese call it the Nugaro. This is our heroine, Putu. And her heart's as gay as the laughter, for she's in love, and on her way to meet her sweetheart to plan their Nogaro. Her parents have objected to her choice of a mate, so Putu has decided to let herself be captured. This is Wyan, the boy she loves. He has been waiting impatiently, for who can be calm when you're planning romantic violence? Since Putu is ready and willing, all that remains is to set the time and place for the abduction.
Ada apa?
Saya merasa bahagia, Wayan.
Aku tidak. Sebelum cita-cita kita tercapai.
Lekas orang rasa.
Tapi orang tuamu tidak setuju, Putu.
Itu terserah padamu, Wayan.
Baiklah kalau begitu. Kita menanti kesempatan yang baik.
The next morning, Wyan starts away with Putu, hoping to reach safety before her father finds out. But they don't get far before they're discovered. The alarm calls her father's friends to the chase, and Putu and Wyan must run for it, hoping that Wyan's friends will come to their rescue and fight off the pursuers. Wyan's friends wait to help. Here comes the pursuit party. Okay, boys, let's stop them. Reaching the safety of another village, they will hide in a friend's home until Putu's angry father cools off. A short time later, a local official arrives to join Wyan's father, who has also come to the lovers' hideaway. Together, they will try to straighten out the romance. This official, getting at the heart of the matter, decides to go ask the young couple if they truly love each other.
Bagaimana Putu dan Wyan? Suka sama suka? Ya, Pak Lian. Kita suka sama suka. Baik, saya uruskan.
The answer is yes. So the two fathers meet to settle the affair.
Wyan, anggap. Bagaimana? Dapat belum? itu kan tersilah pada Bapak sendiri, saya tidak dapat kata. Hal itu saya tidak ambil marah. Asal dia suka sama suka.
Finally, Putu's father gives in. After all, he was young once too. And so it is that some days later, the violence of the Novgorod ends in the peacefulness of the wedding ritual. Off the tip of India, in the jungles of modern Ceylon, lives an ancient tribe in which, to catch your mate, you may need a grass loop and a piece of liver. This is the Veda tribe, a primitive jungle people with many customs unchanged for nearly 2,000 years. Courage and competition are taught at an early age, and children study the art of making weapons. For when a boy grows up and falls in love, his ability to hunt with bow and arrow may decide whether or not he'll win a mate. And a girl's dexterity with her fingers will show her own readiness for marriage. Out of grass and the bark of a native tree, this girl is making a marriage belt. This belt will play a central role in her wedding ceremony. That is, if she has a wedding. Because before she can place this belt around her sweetheart, he must prove his fitness for marriage by capturing a monkey and giving its liver to her father. The hunt's a success. A friend shouts the groom's on his way to claim his bride. The bride's father rises to greet the groom, who gives him the liver. And in one of the world's quickest weddings, the father summons the bride, who, by tying the wedding belt around the groom, officially ties the knot. Her father gives them a jug and an axe with which to start housekeeping. And with his blessings, the happy newlyweds leave for the jungle on their honeymoon. Now the men, some dressed like women, begin a wild dance. To ensure a happy marriage, they'll shake the devil out of their souls. The honeymooners are home. It's a day of feasting, and as the men share their food, they likewise share their wives in a form of polyandry. For a man has the right to possess his brother's wife. In the modern and highly civilized areas of Ceylon, with its great variety of races and cultures, courtship takes many courses. And sometimes, in preparing for a date, a girl may bathe in public in this most modest of all baths. Yes, with her clothes on. In Ceylon have a beauty secret shared by many of the world's most beautiful women. To give their skin its softness, they scrub it frequently with a small stone. And while bathing with your clothes on may have nothing to do with your beauty, It may have much to do with your courtship. For the less one sees, the more one imagines. And imagination's a powerful weapon in winning your man, which may help to explain the use of the changing bag. These changing bags are widely used in Ceylon, and while modesty is a factor, we are also reminded that many anthropologists believe the original purpose of wearing clothing was not modesty, but to adorn ourselves for the attraction of the opposite sex. This Ceylonese girl with exquisite grace dresses for a date. She's certainly proving, as every woman knows, that clothes help make the man fall in love. And if you're being courted in Ceylon, don't be surprised if your boyfriend calls for you with his elephant. For elephants here are more plentiful than hot rods, and much more dependable. This young man is bringing along a friend to take care of the elephants, while he himself takes care of his date. Here, like anywhere else, it's important to make a good impression on your girl's folks. And this boy has brought along for them a present of betel nuts. These are a highly esteemed gift, and if her parents accept them, it will indicate their approval of the suitor and of his romantic intentions. Well, so far, so good. The father now summons his daughter, who makes her appearance, welcoming her sweetheart with flowers, in the universal language of lovers. And he gives her a lotus blossom, its delicate form symbolic of her own beauty. And now, the formalities over, the informalities begin, and the happy young couple head for the elephants and a ride to romance. Another couple is on a date, but there won't be any kissing. Because in some parts of Ceylon, as elsewhere in the world, a kiss is considered taboo. But they have a very titillating substitute. Yes, just plain sniffing, but with implications most of us never give it. Finally, in Ceylon, your love might culminate in a colorful wedding such as this, in the city of Kandy, the ancient stronghold of the Ceylonese kings. Wearing traditional costume, the bridal party approaches the marriage throne. The groom gives the bride a golden chain, the equivalent of a wedding ring. Then, in a custom followed in many lands, he drapes around her the virginity cloth. And tomorrow, she will give this garment to her mother as proof that she entered into holy matrimony with purity. After a symbolic gift from the groom to the bride's mother, the priest unites the couple, tying their thumbs with a silken bond, signifying their spiritual union. Then, in the Porua ceremony, with sacred coconut milk, he blesses their love. Finally, as the wedding draws to an end, the bride's mother gives the young couple a plate of milk rice, which, like a wedding cake in other lands, symbolizes good luck, prosperity, and a happy marriage. Throughout the ages, poets have sung of India's love and of the myriad ways in which the mating urge is fulfilled in this land of enchantment. They tell us of India's women, whose loveliness is enhanced by their use of adornment, by the color and style of their graceful manner of dress, and by their use of cosmetics, such as saffron, to beautify even the palms of their hands. And these charms are exquisitely revealed in the haunting beauty of their dances. The personal invitation inherent in the art of dancing has been part of courtship ever since it was discovered that emotions could be stirred with rhythm and sound. The language of the dance has employed the use of almost every part of the body, and of particular muscles in strange and tantalizing ways to tell a complexity of stories. And although dancing has come to express many moods and desires, it will always be an instrument, whether through tempestuous tempo or vibrant restraint, for conveying the impatience of love. As in many areas of the world, a young man in love may seek the guidance of the stars by consulting an astrologer. This man is a professional. A large part of his clientele consists of young lovers like this, who believe the destiny of their hearts is linked to that of the planets. The first thing the astrologer must do is study the young man's horoscope. It's a map of the heavens cast at the moment of his birth in terms of signs of the zodiac. And this young man would not dream of getting married unless the position of the stars is favorable. The astrologer explains that although there is a bad influence from two planets, he believes everything can be worked out harmoniously. That is, if the young man will follow his advice. And the astrologer, stressing the planet's role in marriage, predicts that all will end well. But with or without the guidance of the stars, the stream of life continues in many ways. And in a remote section of southern India, where lives a small tribe called the Todas, they have a wedding as simple as falling in love. In modern India, we find the dignity and sacredness of the Hindu wedding ritual. The bride and groom, separated by a cloth, await the command of the priest.
Sivamangalam Savadan.
Arise now, O bridal couple, for the most auspicious moment has come. And now they change places, symbolizing the intertwining of their lives. The priest gives them garlands of flowers, with which, in a ritual further representing their common bond, they bless each other. And as they exchange the wedding garlands, the priest prepares the tali for the groom, and the groom gives it to his bride with the traditional meaning of, "With this I thee wed." Into the ceremonial fire, the priest sprinkles an offering to invoke the blessings of a love as pure as the flames. Finally, he ties a knot with the end of the bride's sari and the end of the groom's shawl, symbolically uniting them. And as the wedding ends, they begin the journey of marriage by circling the sacred fire, with a prayer their union will be fruitful. Sometimes, when motherhood seems denied, a woman will pray again in a ceremony going back to the dim antiquities of worship, when mankind bowed in reverence to the great mysterious processes of life. And today, in India, as other lands, a woman may still kneel in a form of phallic worship. An offering of coconut milk and flowers is made to a sacred tree, symbolizing the eternal forces of procreation. And representing the spiritual powers to whom she prays in this ceremony, signifying the union of matter and of spirit, and the fertility and birth of all living things. Of romance has oft been woven with love charms, potions, and magic. And in the mysterious land of the Zulus in South Africa, this young man is on his way to win the heart of his beloved with an ancient ritual of Zulu love magic. He is heading for the stream in which the girl he secretly loves is coming to bathe. And if his magic works, he will win her in marriage. As she approaches, the young man takes every care to remain hidden, in her eyes to preserve the spell, prepares for the moment when he will drink of the stream where she has bathed. For he believes that by so doing, and uttering his incantation, that like the water which has momentarily possessed her body, he will come to possess her permanently in marriage. Having given the charm time to work, the young man waits, filled with hope, for the moment of the test. too often, competition for a girl's heart can lead to trouble. And in Malaya, as elsewhere, when a girl can't decide between her suitors, the boys may take matters into their own hands. And they have an effective way of settling romantic arguments in Malaya. It's a fight called the pinchak. This is the girl for whom the rivals will fight. The village chief is referee. And this boy will risk his life against the courage of this boy as they battle to the finish in the pinchak. The chief, to prevent bloodshed, stops the fight. The victory has been clearly won. And the girl who incited the feud now ends it with a drink for the champion and the assurance of her love. Far South Pacific, in the islands of the New Hebrides, these men are on their way to perhaps the most terrifying of all manifestations of the mating urge, a spectacular test of manhood. Is their destination, a rickety platform towering 80 feet into the air, and from which, to prove their courage, young men will leap toward the ground head first. These jumps are inspired by a legend. A young girl, escaping from a would-be lover, leaped from a treetop, but by tying vines to her ankles, she broke her fall and set a high mark in courage, which has become a challenge to the New Hebrides men. They will plunge from these platforms, risking lives on a vine, to see how close they can come to the earth without cracking their skulls. Carefully, the climb is made, carrying a vine to the top for fastening to one of the diving platforms. These are the land divers, the men who will dare death. Solemn, tense, realizing that even if they should want to turn back, it is now too late without dishonor. They are bid goodbye and wished good luck. The dancer's tempo picks up, and excitement mounts as time nears for the first leap into space. And now the first diver nears a jumping platform. The vines are made ready, and in the choice of their length, the jumper has chosen life or death. For the slightest miscalculation in measurement or in the angle of his leap can mean, instead of a broken fall, a broken neck. Cautiously, the jumper moves to the end of the platform, where in a moment he will perform the ritual of farewell as he draws breath to challenge oblivion. Incredibly, he survived. And now the jumps will continue, higher and higher, as man shows off to woman in this fantastic contest of the mating urge.